As a music producer, I've always been fascinated by the various genres of music, their nuances, their parallels, and yes, even the intrigue behind the songs, the singers, and everything that's compiled therein. Now, as a mixing engineer, I often listen to those songs critically, and I wonder to myself, what would they sound like before they were mixed, before all the polish and the sheen from the studio was added? So recently, that dream actually came true thanks to one of my awesome subscribers. Thank you, 𝗵𝗵𝗂𝗧𝗿, aka the Minister of Badness, for sending over the tracks that we'll be listening to today from a very famous song, one that has really shaped the history of music. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, stick around to the very end because you're not going to want to miss any bit of this. This is going to be the raw form of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean. So before we get started today, in case you're new here, my name is Robert McClellan, and this is my little creative neck of the woods, so to speak. This channel exists to simplify the complexities of the home studio and to help you make professional sounding music in a less than professional space. We do that with gear reviews, tutorials, and pretty much anything audio related to help you make better music. Over the years, this channel has become a community of audio lovers who dream together, create together, and ultimately help one another achieve their dreams by just being awesome to one another. So if you personally would like to join in on the awesomeness today, go ahead and consider subscribing to the channel while you're here and click the bell icon so that whenever I go live or I upload another helpful tutorial, you'll be the first to know. Also, be sure to stick around to the very end of this video because as we're listening to these tracks and I'm reacting to them, giving my feedback on them, I'm also going to be displaying on the screen, to make this a little bit more interesting, some fun facts about Michael Jackson's Billie Jean that maybe you did not know. So let's dive right in. Okay, so what we have before us right now is the multi-tracks that I flew into Cakewalk by BandLab. These are completely unprocessed tracks that were from the original recording of Michael Jackson's Billie Jean, and I am super excited to hear how these sound in their raw form. I'm almost positive that I'm going to be pleasantly surprised, but it's no secret, however, that in the studio, with all of its tools and tricks of the trade, that you can take less than desirable sounding songs and with a little massaging and some processing, make them sound a whole lot better. However, as I often teach on this channel, all the tips and the tricks and the tools in the world cannot replace a great song with a good arrangement and a lyric that's filled with emotion that's performed passionately. So today's material, like I said, I'm sure is going to be a testament to this. Okay, so to provide a little bit of context to the tracks before we begin listening to them, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the history of this song itself. So it was released in 1982, and it was one of the highest selling singles of all time, one that catapulted Michael Jackson to the top of the pop charts and literally changed the entertainment world. So firstly, it was the music video itself that drew attention to MTV and kickstarted its significance in popular culture. And secondarily, it finally broke the grip of those in charge who refused to play videos featuring black performers. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the tracks. I'm very excited to hear these. Let's go ahead and start with the percussion elements of the mix first. I'm very, very excited to listen to these. No one could argue with the fact that the percussion elements of this song is what really helped to put a fingerprint on it. It's one of those things that immediately, as soon as you hear that drum line, you know this is Billie Jean. And so let's go ahead and listen to that. Now, the going standard for the studio in those days was to record as soon as the artist would enter in the studio. Like before anything was even set up, sometimes they would go ahead and hit record just in case they caught some kind of magic that they could throw in. So I noticed there's a lot of silence before the tracks actually begin. This clues me in on the fact that they were probably practicing the same thing. And what I'm excited about is I'm hoping that we're going to get to hear something like maybe beforehand that we didn't get to hear on the actual recording, the studio release. I'm going to just select all of the percussion elements and bring them all up to a reasonable level. I'm going to say -6 dBs. I'm not going to try to balance them per se because I actually want to hear what they were sounded like, how they were recorded with the end in mind. So usually most of the time in studios, producers and whatnot will get their heads together and they'll say, okay, we want to record these like they were already mixed. So I'm very curious to see how these were recorded. Let's just go ahead and hit play here and give this a listen. It looks like there's about 8 bars, if not more, of complete and total silence before this. So I'm really hoping that we hear something.
Billie Jean, take one.
What? That was the voice of Bruce Swediens, the mixing engineer. That was awesome. You could hear Michael laughing in the background. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna start bringing in some other essential elements. Ooh, there it is. So you can't hear that and not know that this is Billie Jean right here. Nice little swell there. This definitely sounds like it was played by a human. It's got good timing, but it's not consistent timing. It's not like locked to a grid. Ooh. What? I don't ever remember hearing that. Nice. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to start it back at the beginning now, and we're going to start bringing in the other elements of the song. So now all of the tracks are at negative 60 Bs roughly, and we're going to go ahead and listen to this. We might even hear more at the beginning that we didn't hear before, because now we have all of the tracks available to listen. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play. It was super cool that first time I got to hear, you hear Michael laughing in the background too.
Billie Jean, take one.
Here we go. Oh yeah. There it is. So funky. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. This is crazy. I've got to solo this. I know I'm not the only one that wants to hear Michael Jackson's vocals soloed.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who would dance on the floor and around.
That is so cool.
She said, I am the one who would dance on the floor and around. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she crossed the scene. Then heavy hair turned with the eyes that dreamed of being the one who would dance on the floor and around.
Man alive.
People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And mother always told me, be careful who you love. And be careful what you do. Could the lie become the truth? Hey, the Billie Jean.
Listen to the emotion in that voice.
She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. Woo! She says I am the one. But the kid is not my son. No, no.
Okay, so I do hear a little bit of, there was a little bit of an edit, like a cut right there, which I'm pretty sure they recorded this to tape. So that was very difficult for them to do that, but they did it. And it actually sounded really good, like you didn't really pick up on it unless you were listening for it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring back all the tracks in again. This is just amazing.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who would dance on the floor and around.
Ooh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I hear some Michael Jackson background vocals here, and it's Michael.
Who would dance on the floor and around. Who would dance on the floor and around. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she crossed the scene. Then heavy hair turned with the eyes that dreamed of being the one.
Wow.
Who would dance on the floor and around.
Man, I'm getting cold chills here.
People always told me, be careful what you do.
Wow. We have come a long way already through this. I am absolutely blown away. Yes, there are definite things that I can hear. There's no way I would have ever heard this before. This is just crazy. We are going to listen to the thing full blown in its entirety. But I want to stop and I want to go back and listen to some individual elements. For one, I want to listen to this bass line, this iconic bass line. So it's actually two bass tracks that make up the bass line itself. So there's this one, sort of the high synth, the mid-high frequencies. And then there's this that make up the low frequencies. Nice. Ooh. Gnarly. That's so cool too. You only hear this element like just a few times in the song from the offset, and then like it builds into the crescendo of the song. And just on the recent video that we've done about production tips, one of the things I talked about is this continual build, this tension and release. And this is definitely, they've built it right in there. It's beautiful. I want to hear these by themselves though. Okay. So these were double tracked. I bet they wanted them panned. I bet these were panned left and right. I'm just going to go with a conservative 50-50. You can listen to this. Okay, wow. So another iconic part of the song that really helps to sell the song is the fact of these violins that do this thing, and you got to hear it soloed. It's just absolutely amazing. Check this out. Wait for it. Here it comes. And here it is. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to listen to the song from the start to the finish without any interruptions. And we're going to listen to my mix of just the faders. And what I mean by that is there's no processing being done on this whatsoever. This is just the raw tracks just simply balanced with the faders volume-wise. So it's not going to sound perfect, but it's going to sound at least a little more mixed. Stay tuned though, because I will be mixing this song live at a later date where I'll be actually applying effects and sort of applying my mixing process to it. Not that I could ever outdo the original mix engineer, Bruce Swediens, on what he did, but just what it's going to sound like with my own flair added to it. So let's go ahead and listen to the song in its entirety, no interruptions, and let's check it out.
Billie Jean, take one.
She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who would dance on the floor in the round. She said, I am the one who would dance on the floor in the round. She told me her name was Billie Jean as she caused a scene. Then heavy hair turned with the ice that dreamed of being the one who would dance on the floor in the round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. And mother always told me, be careful who you love. And be careful what you do. 'Cause the lie becomes the truth. Hey, now Billie Jean's not my love. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. Woo! She says I am the one. But the kid is not my son. No, no. For 40 days and for 40 nights, I was on his side. But who can stand when he's in demand? He's in demand. So go and dance on the floor in the round. So take my strong advice. Just remember to always think twice. Don't think twice. She told my baby dance to 3. She looked at me, then showed a photo. Baby cried, his eyes were like mine. Go and dance on the floor in the round, babe. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. Don't break no rules. But she came and stood right by me, 'cause I smell a sweet perfume. I guess it's coming pretty soon. She called me to her room. Hey, the Billie Jean's
Wow. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. From a producer standpoint, from someone who works with music all the time, I have to say the production was spot on. There's a reason why Quincy Jones was highly sought after. I've recently found out that this vocal that Michael did was in one take, his lead vocals, one take. You hear the passion, you feel the passion coming from the vocals. Every single element that's added to it is like it's there for a purpose. And one thing that I love about this is there's constantly something being introduced for the listener to hear, even if it's just like a little snippet of an audio. It's absolutely amazing. And then the fact that, you know, the original tracks that were recorded, I see no clipping. I see no crazy stuff going on in these that you normally would see, like from individuals who send you stuff to mix. Obviously, they knew what they were doing. But you can just hear excellence in every single thing that's done on this. Every track, every vocal line, every addition of every instrument. It was all purposeful, meaningful. There's a reason why this song rose to the top of the charts the way that it did. It's not just that it speaks volumes to a generation or to a people who have dealt with similar situations. It's not just the relatability of the song itself, but it's the fact that so much time and effort was poured into this. This was not just thrown together. This was not just loops that were just thrown together. And you can just tell by listening to the vocalist, you can just tell by listening to Michael, he's not reading this from a phone. He's literally memorized these vocals and he's singing them from his heart. This is the kind of stuff that makes great songs right here. Well, guys, I hope this video was informative and entertaining in the least. I hope that you learned something from this, something from the production elements, something from the vocalist that was involved in this. I say the vocalist, it's Michael Jackson, for crying out loud. If you did learn something from today's video and you'd like to drop that in the comment section down below, let me know what you thought about the production. Was this something that you would like to see more of? If so, let me know in the comment section down below as well. And until next time, remember, we can dream alone, we can create alone, but together we can achieve so much more.
The Billie Jean.